All right, what is going on, everyone? Isaac Mashman here, and today you are listening to a very special podcast episode. Out of all the podcasts that I've done, this is by far my favorite. So today I am interviewing and talking with a close friend of mine, Yung Spitta, who just released his brand new project. I'm dropping this a day after the project drops, so make sure to stream A Short But True Story, available everywhere. But we talk about everything regarding, the come up, starting with the struggles of being an artist, filling in an industry and trying to make a name for himself. Just a whole bunch of different things, and we just cover a ton of great information. So make sure to listen to the podcast. I know that it is a rather long episode, but it is just an hour and a half of nonstop value, and I know that you guys are going to really, really enjoy it. So I would love to get your thoughts. I would love to get your input, and make sure to stream and show some love for my good friend, Yung Spitta. Enjoy. What is going on, everyone? Isaac Mashman here, and you are now listening to the Hustler's Choice podcast. You are now tuning into episode 12, and today I have a very good friend of mine, a fellow entrepreneur, artist, Yung Spitta. Yung Spitta, can you go and say what's going on?
What's up, everyone? How y'all doing today?
Okay, guys. So I actually met Andrew. That's his actual name. Andrew. Yung Spitta is what he goes by for his artist name. But I met him last year when I was in Bakersfield. And for those of you who do not know, I've been in Bakersfield now, living here for over a month now, going on 2 months. And I connected with him, and I really wanted to get him on the show to talk about his story, to talk about what he has going on. And in honor, he has a new project dropping here.
Yes,
Actually, at the time that I drop this, it's going to already be released, so make sure you tune into that. But I really wanted to drop this to drive a little bit of traffic towards his name, to kind of get you guys introduced to a really dope artist who I know is going to go far in the industry. But Andrew, can you go ahead and talk a little bit about a little bit about yourself? Give an introduction of who you are.
Okay. So basically, stage name Yung Spitta. Started making music about 2 years ago now at this point. At first, when I started making music, I was making very lyrical rap, or what I would consider lyrical rap. But then after a little while, I started kind of developing my own sound and went into a completely different, I would say, stage, in a sense, almost. And then I kind of developed a sound that I'm now carrying over into and developing in this new project that I'm about to drop, or by the time you're hearing this, it already dropped. So it's called A Short But True Story, and it's my sound even more developed and altered a little bit, and it will continue to develop and alter. And yeah, I'm excited for everyone to hear it.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. So for those of you who do not know, which most of you actually, you are from Bakersfield, right? Born and raised?
I was born in Mission Hills, raised in Bakersfield, California.
Raised in Bakersfield. So the majority of your life was spent here.
Yeah, I moved here when I was 2.
Okay, and the one crazy thing about you is you didn't start out making music. How did you get introduced to music? Go ahead and tell the audience about that.
Okay, so I had just got out of high school, and when I was in high school, I'd always joke around about being a rapper, because this is about the time of the SoundCloud era. So everybody wanted to be a rapper, so I joke around about it and say, oh, I want to be a rapper. And then when I started going to college, I was like, well, I have all this free time, I don't know what to do with it. I don't just want to sit around and do nothing and be like everyone else. So I was like, why don't I start making music? So I started writing down my songs on beats and shit, and yeah, that's how it started, really.
And you just started?
And I was writing poetry back in high school, so that's how I knew I kind of liked. I always liked writing. I just didn't know I would start making music with it. I didn't know that would be the path for me.
Okay, so you kind of just started writing, and you're like, you know what, I could, everything just kind of fell into place. You didn't see yourself being a rapper, a musician, or an artist. And a funny thing about that is, you don't like being called a rapper. That's something that irritates you.
I hate being called a rapper. It's like my least favorite thing.
Why is that?
Because I don't think I'm a rapper. I think if you're a rapper, that's strictly what you do. You rap, and I don't even consider my music rap. Even mostly for the past 2 projects, Feelings Mutual is a lot more hip hop than this newest one. This one's a lot more R&B and a lot of other things. So yeah, I just think it's almost putting me in a box, and I don't think you'll put me in a box, because I'm gonna go all over the place. I want to do a little bit of pop. I want to do a little bit of rock. I want to do everything, literally.
A little bit of everything, and it's almost like calling yourself a rapper has a negative connotation nowadays, just because it's like being an entrepreneur. Anyone can put a title on their bio.
Yeah.
Anyone can put a title and say that they're an entrepreneur, a founder, a CEO. And I mean, I did that way too early myself personally, but it's like a lot of people call themselves a rapper. And, we were having a conversation about this before we even started the podcast, about how a lot of people who do they try to do rap music, don't practice, they don't take it seriously, they don't do any of that. But by you calling yourself a musician or an artist, it kind of opens up a broader level of professionalism and just shows your versatility. When it comes to rap, like especially SoundCloud rap, right? Like that's one thing that irritates you a lot.
Yeah, of course.
So that's really awesome, man, and it's good that you're not limiting yourself to like one specific thing and one specific genre. You're not just trying to make what the industry wants or something like that. You're doing what you want.
No, and, I always try to shy away from that as much as possible. Try to do my own thing.
That's amazing, and I feel like too many people nowadays try to mimic what the industry wants, but not what they want.
Yeah, I just think everyone tries to be trendy and tries to get that one hit that'll make them blow up. But I don't think that's what's about in the long run. I think it's always about longevity in the game. It's always about how are you going to build something that's sustainable, not
Very
just
true.
something that's fleeting.
Very
It's
true.
about leaving a legacy, not about just being here for a couple of years.
Right. A lot of people want to go ahead and do one song and immediately get signed to a record label, and that's like their goal. And for you, it's more so about the art. So are you, I mean, I know that you genuinely love music, but are you doing it for influence, for fame, for money? What is your goal behind music? Because a lot of different people, you have people who literally just want to make a lot of money, sleep with a bunch of women and have a bunch of nice things. But for you, it's a little bit deeper. Am I right?
Yeah, of course. No, I just want to influence people, man. I want to be that artist that people look to and can literally, like, they feel like they could reach out and talk to me whenever. Let's say if someone DM me today and asked me for help on something, I would respond within minutes and say, "What do you need? I'm here for you."
Right.
And that is something that I will carry with me forever, no matter where I go, no matter what I do. That's just part of me. And I think anyone that's met me knows that about me. If you reach out to me saying that you need help, I am here for you, no matter what. And I want to be that person for everyone. I want to put that in my music. So those people that don't have a voice, I want to give them a voice. For those people that don't know what to do in a situation, I want to have a song for you that relates to that situation and can help you get out of that, or maybe even help your mind state. I want to be that person, because I know when I was growing up, I felt like with certain situations and certain problems I came across, I couldn't really talk to anyone about it. And I remember, the music I listened to helped me. The music that was like that helped me a lot. But I try to go even deeper than that and really try to focus in on key subjects and key concepts that are going to be very if they hit you, they're going to hit you hard. If they don't hit you, then that's fine.
Not just talking about money, talking about cars, talking about
I hate that.
There's so many different things we could talk about right there about how you spoke about longevity. We immediately hopped in this interview, and I love it because we went from like what's going on to let's go ahead and get straight to the story, get straight to the point, get straight to the value, and that's awesome, man. And I know a lot of people listening are going to really appreciate that. So something that you mentioned was longevity, and you're trying to be in the game for a long time. And a lot of these artists, they'll be one-hit wonders, or they'll have an album that goes and performs really well. A couple of years go by, they might still be famous, but you don't hear their name mentioned. Like think about Fetty Wap. Whenever he was in his prime back in like I think 2014 or 15, and afterwards we haven't heard from Fetty in the past couple of years.
No.
And and it's about having that deeper connection. So growing up, whenever you first got introduced to music, was there an artist that you reached out to who really like worked with you or helped you along?
When I first started making music?
Yeah, when you first started.
I wouldn't know. Honestly, I don't think there was anyone that I reached out to that helped me out. What was the people? Honestly, the people that helped me were the people closest to me. My cousin was a huge influence in getting to me where I am today. My friend Victor, which you also know, he was a huge influence and always pushing me to keep going. He was one of the first people to really believe in me, honestly, and that means a lot to me.
Shout out to Victor. Episode 9 was actually with Victor. So guys, if you haven't listened to that yet, after this interview, of course, make sure to go check out that interview.
Go check it out. That was a really good episode too. I listened to that.
Yeah, man. I had a lot of people really loved that. A lot of people got a lot of value. That was actually the best performing episode out of every single podcast so far, which is amazing.
Let's try to beat that this time.
Let's try to beat that, guys. Make it happen. Make it happen. Send this to everyone you know, mom, brother, uncle, dad, whoever. So man, that's powerful. And being an entrepreneur myself, it's like I've realized that by me doing what I love, which is helping other people and just showing people what's possible whenever you just work and put your head down and make things happen, that speaks milestones. And a lot of people, even right now, I'm sure that you're kind of the same way. You respond to a DM, you have some kid who's like, oh my God, I didn't expect you to get back with me.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's happened before.
No, yeah, it's breathtaking to me. Like I literally don't know how to respond. Like it's almost like awkward in a sense to me because I'm literally like no one to me. Like okay, I don't mean that in like a bad connotation that I don't value myself, but like I mean, in the sense of like, I'm just like you. Like,
and how are
I'm
you?
literally no different. Absolutely no different.
Man, I remember the other day on Twitter, I responded to this guy's DM, and he's like, "Oh my god, you responded," and I was like, yeah, I mean, duh." And
Yeah.
he's like, "I've been following you for months, and like you're like a celebrity to me," and I'm like, "What?" But then I think to myself too about like me. I've taken a step back and thought about, whenever I first started out. There are some people who I used to like look up to that degree. It's like getting a response or a DM back from Gary Vee or from like freaking Rick Ross. I remember one time I sent Rick Ross a message and I freaked. So it's like putting yourself in the shoes of other people, and also with like
that's crazy to me though.
Yeah,
that can happen so quick, and even at this level that is already happening. Like I can't even imagine where I'll be in the next year.
Where do you see yourself next year?
Next year?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'll probably have another 2-3 projects out by then. I don't know where I'm gonna be at, but I think that's the fun of it. That's the whole adventure of it. That I don't know what's gonna happen, and that's always kind of the journey for me. Like I appreciate the struggle. I appreciate the process. I don't just want to put out one song and be famous. I want to give you a catalog to listen to that everyone can look back on and be like, "Oh, he's been doing this for a while." And I want to give you value in every single project that I give you. Mostly from now on, I feel like my value is just going to keep on going up. Not my actual value, but in the words that I'm giving you, in the lessons that I'm teaching you, in what I'm saying in my songs, in every single line that I write.
Well, it's like last year, you dropped your EP, Feelings Mutual.
Yeah.
You dropped that, and we were talking about that. But now with this recent project that literally just came out, because we plan on dropping this interview like right around that time.
Yeah.
A short but true story, and something you're super excited about this, and you have so much anxiety. I know you've talked to me and the rest of the guys, and you're like, I don't know how this is going to do. But personally, every single person that I've talked to who's listened to it is like, it's really good. It's going to take you far. Like I'm betting that this project is going to take you to new levels. But can you just think about what can change, what can happen? I mean, success doesn't happen overnight, but one thing can go viral overnight, and that's what the power of the internet. Can you imagine building up a brand and building up your portfolio as an artist without the internet? Like it's possible. It was possible back then, but not to this degree. And it's powerful, and man, that's like, I'm personally, I'm grateful to be living in such a time to where
honestly,
we can connect with a random person.
It's so much easier to be an entrepreneur than it would have been 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's easy to do anything nowadays compared. How many times have you went on like a road trip and you're like, where's the nearest gas station? Like you don't pull out a map, you don't pull out a paper map, and you're like, let's see, okay, so the nearest town is here. Like before, they used to go based off of a map and be like, the nearest town is here. They didn't even know if what they wanted was there.
Now think about it. You can make $1,000 today just off one connection. That's crazy.
Or more. Yeah, you can close $100,000 deal without ever talking to a person.
Like, all it takes is a connection these days, and it's so much easier to get those connections through the platform that is given to us.
Absolutely,
it's absolutely insane.
It drives me nuts how people complain about just the most stupid stuff, about not getting as many plays as they need.
No, everything's out there. It's just about how hard are you willing to work, how much time are you willing to put into it.
Well, and this project, man, go ahead and talk about this project a little bit. I know this is something you're really passionate about. So, guys, if he goes on a 20-minute rant, I'm not going to stop him. So go ahead and talk about that.
Okay, so this project, A Short But True Story. Basically, I came up with this project concept. I was in, I wouldn't say a relationship. I was in a situation with a female at the time, and I basically started writing down how she made me feel at the time. And I made it into a story, and it was a very what's it called, concept-filled story. It wasn't thought out very well. It was just kind of like my thoughts at that moment that I would write down, and throughout this happening, I would keep on adding to the story, and just based off the feelings that she would give me. Because to me, I think music should always be about what you feel and inspiration, and I thought that was a very good inspiration for me to take from it. So when that situation stopped, I was able to finish the project, and that's what you get on the project. And A Short But True Story is basically a story about a man and a woman, as you hear in the intro already. It's a story about a man and a woman, and basically this is their breakup, I would say. Or it's like a long falling out, with like in the fallout, when that's track 5 on the project.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like a long falling out, but it goes a lot deeper than that. I really want people to really sit back and to see what they take from it, because there's so much that there's so much hidden things in there. Like I literally slipped so much things in there to try to get people to catch on. So I really want to see who can get it without me exactly saying it. You know what I mean? Like I want to see what value they can get from it, because that really is the end of the day is the goal. I want to know what you can take from it, if it relates to you, if it helps you in your situation. Because I know what it means to me, but I want to know what it means to everyone else too.
Yeah.
And I think this project is absolutely crazy. It took me about 7 months to finish making. I literally put almost everything I had into this project. Honestly, it took so much time, effort, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. No cap.
And you know, a lot of people would be, you know, initially without understanding, and people who don't really know what they're talking about, a lot of people are going to be like, "It's only 6 songs. Why did it take you freaking 7 months for 6 songs?" That's something I had to talk with you about to kind of understand. I wasn't judging you or anything. Like, why 7 months for 6 songs? I was like, but I was genuinely intrigued to know like what went into it. And we were talking, and man, like just the process of getting the narrator, you know, choosing the right person for the narrator, deciding what direction you want.
I wrote the whole script by myself, and everything was done by myself.
And I've listened to the EP, or do you call it EP or album?
It's EP.
It's an EP. Okay.
It's an EP.
I've listened to it like 2 or 3 times. I mean, I've listened to studio, you know, recordings and stuff like that, and there's still more that I'm digesting. And I'm like, I got done listening to it the other day, and I'm like, what the heck did you just do? Because it's something that's never been done before.
Yeah, it's so funny because I'm getting that so much already without it even being released. It's like, oh my gosh, this has never happened. Like I showed my parents the other day. They're like, I've never heard anything like this. They literally told me that, and the fact that someone older from a different time can tell me that's absolutely insane.
This is leading into a fantastic point. I remember whenever you first brought me to the studio, which the studio is actually a separate room at the back of the house. The only reason I'm including this is because of how wild this is going to be when we look back 10 years from now and be like, holy crap. It's literally a studio with a pool table. We are literally recording outside of his parents' house right now. There's a pool table in the middle, and there's a little corner that's tucked away for a studio. Yeah. He has noise canceling stuff, and it's just tucked away at this little corner. And it's so amazing because it's like, that's what it takes. You know, you don't need to go and pay $100 to go and get an hour and a half of studio time. And a lot of people think that they have to get studio time in order to be official. Not.
I mean, to me, that has never been the move from, I knew since the beginning I wanted to make a home studio. I mean, mind you, it takes a big investment at the beginning to get that home studio going. Mostly if you want to have high quality equipment, it takes a lot of money, but
it's worth it, isn't it?
In the long run, you're going to save so much. Like, I know people that have told me, oh, I spent $2,000 to mix and master this project. I'm like, I got that done for $250 plus cover art because I recorded it all on my own, and then I just sent it off to get mixed, and it was that easy.
I feel like that also goes to speak about people who are genuinely serious and genuinely love the craft, and people who want to be flexers, or people who want to do it because it's cool. I know some people who literally go and get studio time, and I'm like, dude, why are you doing this?
I think they just do it literally just to say that they've got studio time, and to post on their social media saying, "Oh, I'm at the studio right now, headed to the studio." Oh, working with, like, I get it in a certain sense that it's a different environment. So I get if people go there for that, because at times I remember at one point in my career I wanted to do that, and I started doing that. I went to different studios to try it out, but to me, nothing's the same as working in my own environment, at my own time, at my own pace, and not having anyone with me. You know what I mean? Because I can experiment as much as I want. I could do whatever I want. There's no uncomfortability. There's nothing there.
And you can create that environment.
Yeah, and I did it to my best of my ability here.
I mean, it's great. Like, I mean, just everything, the thoughts that go into it. I can tell, Andrew, that you're just a very particular person, a very articulated person, a very like. Guys, if you saw how he dresses, he literally color coordinates everything down to a T. I'm not doing this to mess with you, bro. But literally, like the other day, you came up to the house and you were wearing like a tan shirt, tan like black, like a certain color pants or shorts, and like tan shoes. Like everything had to be matched. Yeah. And it goes to your like level of perfectionism, but also just your love for being careful with what you do. And with this project, like you wanted to get everything perfect, and you were stressing over the project and like tripping over the simplest thing. And I'm like, dude, it's better than 99% of music out there. And you're like, if it's not 100, it's not, it's not good enough.
No, and even to me, I mean, I know I could do better. I know I'm going to do better next project.
Love that.
Love that. I know this isn't the peak. And I always kind of shock myself after every project. 'Cause after the last project, I looked at it and I was like, how am I going to top this? And then I made this project. I'm like, it's clearly better. It's to me, it's not even a question anymore. It's clearly it's clearly a better project. And now I'm like, okay, now how am I gonna top this? Because like, if you think about it, at some point, it's going to be something absolutely insane. I don't know when that's gonna happen. To me, if I had to guess, I would say this next one is gonna be the one that really gets a lot of people. Like this project that dropped, I think this is gonna be the project that really people could look back on and be like, oh, we were sleeping on him so much. This one's, I know this one's gonna give me a really strong fan base. I know that's what this project's going to do to me. Well, but also sky's the limit.
And well, we're recording this before it even dropped, but putting it out after it's dropped. This is really interesting.
Yeah,
for me.
The fact that they're gonna be able to see the results.
You're already planning ahead. You're already past this.
I'm like 3 projects ahead.
You're already past this, and you're like, what's next?
Yeah.
What can I do to improve? And a lot of people get to a project, and they're like, I'm the greatest rapper alive, like freaking DaBaby, you know what I'm saying? And they're like, they think like they're at their pinnacle, and that's why a lot of these people fall off.
No,
but with you have this humble spirit, this humble heart, and this was, you know, a lot of people don't have the humility. A lot of people think like they drop a project or just because they have something in their bio or just because they did an accolade a year ago that they're the best and they can never improve. And it's like you're consistently looking for ways to improve, on ways to get better, on what you can do to really deliver and deliver to your fan base. Like you genuinely care about people, and you know that like the music, you're making music for yourself, but you're also making music for other people that they're going to enjoy. And that speaks to, I know one other thing that you wanted to do with this project is create timeless music and music that people can listen to and not just a song.
Yeah.
Speak about that, because you have a very interesting perspective on that I've never heard anyone else talk about.
Well, I think that I don't think it's ever about, see, because to me, like, it's okay to make songs for the fact of making songs, to make something that people can enjoy, people can have a good time to. I have absolutely no problem with that. But for me, I have so much more fun making music that I know that you can just have an experience with. You could go out somewhere, you could close your eyes and just take in every single word, and you could feel everything that's being said. To me, that's my favorite kind of music. If I can really feel everything that you're saying and say that you're being absolutely yourself, that you're being genuine in every single word, because it's going to come out in the music.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who you are. I don't care how good you are on a mic. If you're not genuine, people are going to feel that. I guarantee you that someone will... Why do you think a project like Kanye's 808s and Heartbreak did so well? It's because he was genuine in it. He felt everything that he was saying in that project. And all these projects that people are considered some of their best work, it's when they have the most motivation. It's when they have the most things to say. It's when they have the most inspiration behind it. If you're not being genuine, it's going to come out in the music. I don't care who you are. Mm-hmm. You can be disingenuine and maybe have a song blow up. Guarantee you're not going to stay like that. There's no longevity in that.
And with you talked about energy. I know that you're really big on energy and how people make you feel, how you make other people feel. You're very well aware of that and self-aware of how, you know, just even with this project, you're so consumed with, okay, how are people going to feel? And you talked to me about the process of writing your song Twilight, which is my personal favorite of every song that you've done so far.
That's a big favorite.
And you talk about, whenever you were first writing it, you had a specific image in your mind of where you wanted to be. Yeah. And I told you about what I was visualizing, and it turned out to be exactly what you visualized. Mm-hmm. How freaky is that? Like, it's just crazy how energy, talk about energy.
I mean, yeah, to me, if you don't put in the same energy that a beat gives you, it's not going to be a hit. Straight up. It's not going to be a good song. At least I think. Because if there's conflicting energies, if you're going hard on like a sad beat, maybe some people are going to be like, oh, this is hard. Most people aren't going to feel that. But to me, right when I hear a beat, the first thing I think about is, okay, what does it make me feel? What does this say to me? To me, I don't even make the songs. The producer is the one that makes the song. Because the producer is the one that dictates basically what I say. Because whatever energy he's giving off from making that beat is the energy I'm going to put into it.
Wow. That's interesting. That's interesting, and I love that. And it, like, I know energy and the law of attraction and everything gets thrown around so much now. It almost disgusts me. It literally irritates me to see like all these people branding themselves as experts or branding themselves as like rappers and not even having one song up. And I just think about it, but there's a lot of truth that goes into energy. You know, if you look past all the BS and people that don't know anything, but more so about a producer is giving, you know, they had a specific thought in their mind. They had a thought in their mind of what they wanted to create, what beat they wanted to create, or they just put it together and then from there played off of that. And you are able to feel that energy and produce another work of art.
Yeah,
you view music more as an art and not just something random.
Yeah, that's a huge reason that I'm not able to. I'm very, very picky about my beats. I'll literally look through about, I would say, 150 beats before I find one that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like, even as a producer, if you don't feel what you're making, you're not gonna make a good beat. To me, you need to feel every single beat. The good producers, to me, they're the ones that feel every single beat, that it relates to them, the beat, if that makes sense. Like the music, they can put that beat on in their everyday life, and it'll be like a soundtrack to their life. That's what it should be to me. So if our energies match like that, it's gonna be a match made in heaven.
And that's why some people, you'll get one artist on a feature, and it just will sound whack, even though they're great artists by themselves. They'll get on a song, and it just won't feel right. Nothing will come together. Man, totally lost track of what I was about to say. And guys, we went into this interview unscripted. I thought about doing questions, but I was like, Andrew's my homie. I don't even see the point of doing questions. And so far, man, there's really no need.
Yeah.
We've been on so many great things. We've talked about so many things already, and we're probably like a quarter done.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on how long we want to take this. So, guys, this could be the longest podcast ever. It could go on for 24 hours. Who knows?
Hopefully. I'm ready.
Do some Mr. Beast stuff, bro.
I'm ready. I have a lot to say.
I've always wanted to do something like Mr. Beast, to be honest, and be like 24. Like, I want to do 24 hours in the airport. I'm going to do that sometime in the next year.
That's so cool.
That's something I really want to do.
I would so be down.
I'm about to get a group of people. I was talking to my friend, and my buddy Zach Birch. I'll get him on a podcast eventually, and he was telling me, he's like, bro, I'd be so down for that. I mean,
no, I want to do like what I want to do. I want to go like in the woods. You know, like the Survivor shows. I would totally be down to do something like that.
I would love to.
I think that would be so cool.
We should do that before I fly out.
That would literally be so cool. I'm so down.
I would totally. For guys, I don't talk about this that often, but I was in Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts for like 7 years. I'm not one of those people that's like, I was in Boy Scouts for like a week. No, I was in Boy Scouts for 7 years.
Yeah.
I'm used to wilderness survival. I literally was at summer camp this one year, and I already got my wilderness survival merit badge. And there's a group of scouts, and they were going out that night. And me and my buddy were like, we're just going to go. We're just going to go. We didn't bring anything but like a bottle of water, and we just literally slept underneath a tree that didn't have any branch. Dude, it's the small things in life.
I think that'd be something so spiritual, really.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I just love nature, man. I love everything having to do with nature. Like, my favorite things in the world are sunsets and forests.
Bakersfield is surrounded by hills.
Yeah.
We should totally go to the top of the hill and camp out one day.
Oh, have you been to Windwolves?
I haven't yet.
No?
No.
It's dope.
We got a lot to do, man. Jeez. Okay, back to the point, back to value, and back to everything else, and talking a little bit about things, man. Shoot, you know what? Normally my podcasts are very like scripted, or not even scripted. They just have a certain like content value, and that's it. But over the past couple of weeks and over the past couple of interviews I've done, I've started to get away from that and just turn it into something that's more enjoyable and something that just feels a little bit more
I think it should always just be like
free-flowing.
a really regular conversation. I think that's what people could like vibe most with, because they could feel like I said, they could feel you're being genuine.
Energy.
Yeah, and they could feel you're being genuine, and this is just who you are.
Yeah.
It's not something that's scripted. It's not something that's you're trying to impress them or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just who you are.
What do you think, guys? Let me know. Go ahead and tweet at me or send me a message. I'm curious. Now, and there's so many different topics that we could talk about. And with this project too, talk about the wood theme, the woods.
Okay.
You're big on woods. Like, guys, if you saw his MacBook, he has a wood, like a picture of the forest on the back of his MacBook. He has a keypad that is the same exact way. So what is so significant about wilderness?
Okay, well, growing up, I mean, so my family, my main family, in a sense, we're like almost like the outcasts of our bigger family, because of the sense that, how do I put this? Because in the sense that, like, if there's a family, most family gatherings we're not going to go to. Only like the major holidays we're going to go to. You feel me?
Okay.
So about once a year when I was little, we'd go out to Mammoth, which is a bunch of woods and like lakes. And we'd go with the whole family and have like a cabin. And that was like some of my best memories literally as a kid, is going there with my family. And my dad would always be working when I was younger too. So I never really got to spend time with him. So when we would go camp, when we would go to the wilderness, like, it was literally everyone together. So I honestly think that's where the love of like wilderness came from. But then as I got older, it really started growing, because I love like fishing. I love hunting. I love all these things about like the wilderness. So it just kind of, when I was making this project, I made When You Walk In. And when I made that song, for some reason, the first thing that came to my mind was a cabin in the woods. And I was like, well, this could be a theme. So that's what it kind of all branched off of.
Mm-hmm.
It was, okay.
Ironically.
Yeah, branched off of. That's what I was going to say, but I was like, I won't say it.
I'll be the cheesy dude.
Yeah. So that's what it all branched off of. This whole idea of this being their home. And I just think there's something very special about the woods, and I think that nature is something really, I guess, what's the word for it? Mysterious. And I wanted to put that sense and that eeriness of the woods into the project, and I think I did that perfectly with how it was executed.
Oh, you did. And there's another thing, guys. This is a project that if you guys are big into music, if you want to check it out, because you need to check it out. If you're listening to this and don't check it out, I will personally be irritated. But it's a project that you have to listen to with earbuds. You can listen to it over the speaker, but the first time you listen to it, it has to be with earbuds, because there's a static feel. And before the interview, at the very end, I'm going to have you play. I'll have you play a song or whatnot, like a little snippet or something, so people are going to get a feel for it.
All right,
I don't know how well the audio will be. We'll figure that out. But
all right, that's fine.
There's just a certain vibe to it, a certain energy to it, and you speak also about how those childhood memories. How old were you whenever you used to go to the cabin and go to the woods?
It must have been starting when I was around 7, 8.
Wow, so early, pretty early.
It was pretty early on, but I said, I wouldn't be around my family that much. I was. Of course, I'd always be home because I lived in a very strict household, so I wouldn't go out or anything like that. I would literally be home with my parents. But my dad was working a lot, so most of the time I'd be spending with my mom and my little brother. So for this one time a year where we'd go out and we'd literally always be together, we'd do campfires. To me, campfires are so cool too. I love roasting marshmallows and making s'mores. That's something that I'll never dislike, that I'll always have a love for, because it's such to me it's such a pure moment. I'm always about purity and how your childhood, when you're born, how pure your thoughts are and everything. To me, going out into the woods and camping with family or camping with friends, that's something so pure. It's untainted. You're able to get away. Yeah. And this is why we definitely got to plan this trip with the guy, with the group. And guys, I've been saying, I've been wanting to go camping. Dude, I'll just go with you, and we could get Victor. Guys, if you don't know, here in Bakersfield, we kind of got our own little friend group going on. Everyone's really tight. Everyone's really tight, but it's a healthy energy. It's a healthy we're all working on our own hustles. We're all working on our own things, but we also have a healthy balance of friendship and work ethic. It's kind of interesting how it works, but it works great. Our friend group is amazing. And that's something honestly I feel blessed to have, because, in Jacksonville, I had very strict parents, Yeah. And that strict nature, I had a couple friends, but it was me hanging out with their family or me going off with them, and or them coming over, but it was never having a friend group. Yeah. So now it's very interesting, because I see the nature of how everyone works together, and it's good. It's good. Now, you speak about being able to get away and kind of having that escape. And this project almost serves as an escape. Yeah. And there's a theme with the guy who goes into the woods to kind of disappear and just think. Yeah. And to get right and stuff like that. And sometimes guys we're living in a society that is based around technology, that's based around fast, get it now. You go to McDonald's, you get food right then and there within 2 minutes. For $2. For $2, right. Speaking of which, after this interview, we'll probably get food, dude. That sounds bomb. We're tell me why this morning I craved McDonald's too. I was just craving. Okay, guys, we might hit pause. No, but on a genuine level, I have to remind myself that even though my business is online, I do personal branding work. I work with people through marketing. I work with businesses through marketing. You promote your music through word of mouth, but mainly through online. No, right? If it wasn't for social media, I make so much connections through social media that have led me to where I am today. I think about if me and you would not be doing this right now if it wasn't for social media. I am here because of it. Last year, I speak about this in episode 9 with Victor. You've lived in a city you'd never been to before because of the fact that you met people through social media. That's insane. Nobody does that. Low key, whenever I talk about this, I get emotional to the point I almost want to cry. You honestly should. Because there's nothing wrong with it. Guys, last year, I went out. I was originally planning on moving to Bakersfield. And the plans fell through. It didn't work out with one of my friends at the time. We're still friends, but it didn't work out. It wasn't right. The time wasn't right. And I was out here, and my buddy paid for the motel. I came out with $200,
and I originally was going to fly to Arizona. Because like the original plan of moving out here didn't work, but I had friends in Arizona. We were going to build business, trade Forex, build a company, all these different things. They ended up ghosting me. And my buddy Nolan, shout out to Nolan Severns. Make sure to check him out on social media and show some love to him. He paid for my motel. And I was here for almost a week. He paid it was like $350 for a motel, but he was a man of his word. And he's like, bro, I understand you don't have the money, and I promise you that you'd have a place to stay flying out here. And he paid for my motel. I was out here. I didn't even see him. He didn't have a car. His girlfriend's friend had to drive down to LA to pick me up whenever I flew in.
That's crazy.
And coming to Bakersfield, and this is a part of the story I haven't talked about publicly yet.
No, I haven't heard of it.
And I sent out a tweet, and I was like, yo, I'm in California, like, where, let's link up. And I didn't quite realize how big California was. But a buddy of mine, a buddy of ours actually, Gabriel, I connected with him 2 weeks prior.
Shout out to Gabe.
Yeah, shout out to Gabriel Avina. I don't even know what his Instagram handle is anymore. That boy's changed like 5 times in the past week.
I don't know what it is.
But I sent out a tweet. I connected with Gabriel 2 weeks prior, and I was growing my Twitter at the time. I had like 2,000 followers. I was growing, and I was following and unfollowing people. And I was like, if people didn't follow me back, I'd unfollow them. But he followed me back, and it was by chance. All of this is by chance. And I connect with him, and I'm like, thank you for the follow. I send him a message. Guys, if you're building social media, when someone follows you, always send them a DM saying, thank you for the follow back. You'll thank me a ton later on. And we connected a little bit, and then, I fly out a couple weeks later, and he's like, what part of Cali are you in? I was like, Bakersfield. And out of all places in California, why the hell would I be in Bakersfield?
And the funny thing is, I had just met Gabe.
And Gabriel was like, bro, no way. And the Starbucks or the Barnes & Noble he always goes to was like a half a mile away from my motel. So I walk to this Barnes & Noble. I meet him up for coffee. I talked to him.
I think I know where you were staying.
Yeah, I was staying at like that janky motel to where like
I know
you
where
walk
you
in the
were
hallway, it's straight weed. Like it was the craziest motel ever. Like there's a swimming pool, but I knew like if I got in that swimming pool,
STD.
It's something, bro. It's something, man. I would need to go to the doctors, and that was not in the budget. So I meet him. I literally get in the car, like his truck, bro. I go from not even knowing, and I was like, dude, I don't have anything else to do today. And he drives me around Bakersfield. He introduces me to, God, dude, this feels like yesterday.
Honestly.
Holy shit.
Do you remember the picture that Victor sent us?
Yeah.
Of that?
Yeah.
To me, that's such a legendary picture, bro.
It really
That is a legendary picture.
That's a picture that we'll release eventually somewhere down the road. But we end up meeting, and he introduces me to Victor. He introduces me to this other guy who's helping with the web design. And it was at the very start of Lion Pride. They just got the inventory that day. And the more I think about this, the more I get freaked out because of how everything's worked out. So fast forward, guys, just like so much can change. But if you never ask, or if you never get and send that tweet, you would never know. My original point of even mentioning social media at the time was to say, guys, take some time away, though, to get off your phone and go out with your family. Go and do a camping trip. Like, even if your business is through social media, set aside a couple hours or set aside a day once a month or once a week to just disconnect.
No, I would say everyone, I understand that people have businesses. If you have a business to run on social media, I get the fact of not wanting to get off of it. But for those that don't have business on social media, I would say at least a month out of the year to just do a cleanse and get off of it and just be you. Mm-hmm. There's such a value in just living.
I should probably do that.
And being yourself. There's such a value in that. I honestly wish that for a month I could just get away. I know that I can't because I can't miss a DM of someone saying, oh, get on this feature. Oh, come be on this project. I can't do it because of that. But if I wasn't, I swear, I would just take a month off and just live and just be myself. Be. There's such a value in just being.
Can you imagine like living before the time of social media though? Like we were raised around computers and technology and stuff, but I think it would be interesting to have lived in a time before. Like be in our 40s right about now. People who were born in the 70s and 80s who.
I'd be really interested.
Like if I had a time machine, I would go back. And I'm going to France at the end of this month, so I'll probably October will probably be a detox month. Like I'll be on social media, but I'm probably going to.
I think that would be mostly doing it over there. It's going to be so rewarding too.
Yeah,
I think that you're going to get a lot from it, and you're really going to understand who you are. That's like one of the biggest things about me. I think that's a huge way that you can understand exactly who you are as a person. Mm-hmm. That you're just not so focused on everyone else. Like, why do you care? Really, at the end of the day, why do you why are these people, like, most people compare themselves to others.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they matter in the scheme of things?
Definitely.
Of what you're doing.
Definitely.
If you're doing something and something is destined for you, that's yours. It's yours to claim at the end of the day. And it's yours to give up. That has nothing to do with them. That's all about you.
You know, and you mentioned a really good point about how technology affects us without even us recognizing how it affects us. You know, it's easy to get on Instagram and just scroll.
Yeah.
And like for hours and hours and hours. Like even though I'm building a business through social media and whatnot, I'll find myself like I'll be on the explore page for 15 minutes. I was like, why am I on this? Like I need to be doing something productive. And that's because like technology is literally aimed to do that. Like the algorithm is designed to keep us on the app.
To reel you in too.
To roll, like exactly.
And think about it. The ads are literally catered to what you like.
You know what's
when pop-up ads come up, they're catered to what you like. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. They just want to bring you in and have you spend money. Why not reverse that on them and make money?
You want to know what's crazy though? Is I've been getting hit with a lot of sponsored ads. So I'm doing personal branding work. I'm working with people, and a lot of these ads that I get hit with are from people who don't have personal brands established. They don't know what they're doing with anything, and they get hit with the boost posts for $10 on Instagram. And they're like, I'm gonna spend $10 and boost the post. Mm-hmm. I've been hit with that, and so I it's funny you say why not sell them? And I'm thinking to myself, and I was like, I'm going to start going for the people who do the sponsored posts because obviously they want to devote money to growing something.
Yeah.
And I've been following every single sponsored post I see, and I'll reach out to them. And ever since I started following the sponsored posts, I've been hit with like 2 or 3, 4 times the amount of sponsored posts in my feed. It'll literally be a person I'm following, and then it'll be sponsored posts, 2 more posts, like maybe a hashtag, and then it'll be another sponsored post.
That's crazy.
It's so freaky. It's so like, I don't know, man. I was having this conversation the other night about like Black Mirror, and I low key feel like we're living in a Black Mirror episode with just like how technology is like just. I don't know. It's wild. We could spend hours talking about that.
Honestly, but there's so much that goes into that.
The effects of social media too, we've only seen short term. It's like vaping. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone's talking about vape. I mentioned this for a reason, okay? Hear me out, guys. Hear me out. So for vaping, for example, everyone's like vaping is harmless and stuff like that. But in reality, we won't know for another 20 years. We won't know all of the long-term effects. And it's the same thing with social media. Social media has only been around for 10 years. Or 13, include MySpace, 2006, and emails and stuff like that. But people weren't sitting behind a computer screen.
I think we're already starting to see it, though. Honestly,
I'm talking 20 years from now for the people who are our age, who were raised around it, or the next generation. You know, the people in middle school right now who were raised on tablets, on phones, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of sad, honestly.
It's scary. It's scary.
It's a little sad for me to think about.
And it's like just the way that there's good and there's bad to everything.
Yeah, of course, it's everything. But I just think that the people are going to get more and more glued to their phones, and that's really sad to me. That the way you have to, it's almost like you're forced to interact that way too. It's not even like a choice almost. Especially when you do what we do, you're forced to interact that way. Like it's very rare that people make connections face to face these days, because people are either scared to make that connection, or they just are always home and they don't get the chance. So What's the easiest way? Getting on their phone and then messaging someone or having someone like their phone and say, oh, I'll follow you back.
And you know, it's great though, making face-to-face connections, because like, especially for business owners or artists and stuff like that, like you need to be able to not only be able to connect with the person through social media and through virtual connection and a virtual relationship, but if you're able to connect with the person, Andy Frisella of the MFCO Project talks about this. He talks about how a lot of these people are screwed because they might be able to network and market and sell someone online, but when it comes to face-to-face interaction, they can't do anything. They can't do shit. They don't have any experience.
Yeah.
And some of the best relationships that you can have are people that you've met face-to-face.
Of course.
Because whenever you meet someone for the first time, you either give them a business card, you get their phone number, or you get their social media.
Yeah.
And those people already have met you. There are just so many different avenues that go into this, like taking a virtual relationship and meeting that person for the first time. I was in LA, a couple weeks ago, and I've been connected with this guy, Rob. He's an entrepreneur. He's a food truck owner.
I remember the picture.
Yeah, man, I've been connected with him. He was one of the first people I connected with on Twitter when I had like 300 followers. And it was before he even started his food truck, the Fat Queso. And I wasn't able to connect with him last year. And this year around, I was like, I'm in LA right here. I was in West Hollywood. And he's like, dude, I'm in West Hollywood too. I'm like 5 minutes away. And I was at a party for Lasso. And we ended up connecting and meeting for like 10 minutes. He literally pulls up in a BMW. Victor and I walk out from the party, and he pulls up at the perfect timing. I literally get in this dude's BMW. I've never met the dude in person. I get in his car. I'm like, and Victor's looking at me, and Victor's like, what are we doing? And I was like, just get in the car.
That's
and he
crazy.
freaking drives off, bro. It felt like a movie. It felt like a movie. And but I'm a back trace. I'm gonna take a step back.
Okay.
And most people don't understand that they're being sold. Most people don't understand that they're spending a whole bunch of time on social media. You know, it's like you play a video game. You're in that video game for a couple of hours. You forget that you're even playing.
Yeah.
And you have to have a very high level of self-awareness. But this is your interview. This is going back to you. It takes self-awareness to have a project and to understand energy and to understand these different things.
Yeah.
So talk about self-awareness for a minute.
I honestly think that, well, I think before, in the last project, I wouldn't say my self-awareness was where it needed to be at that moment in time. My self-awareness literally just really came to fruition within the last, I would say, 5-6 months.
Okay.
Honestly. And what I mean by self-awareness, I want to kind of describe that for people that don't understand. I think it's just another word. To me, I think one of the most important things that you can do for yourself as a human is get to know yourself. If you don't know who you are, then you are not going to be the best version of you. The goal should always be to be the best version of you. If you're not moving forward and getting to know yourself, then what are you doing? If you're just wandering around every day, just doing whatever, just messing around, and you're, let's say, like, for instance, for people that get out of high school and don't have any ambition, don't have any goals, and just do drugs and alcohol, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing all this for? What is it leading towards? It can only be leading towards dysfunction. If you get out of high school, you know what you want. Oh, mind you, a lot of people think they know what they want. But when you really get to know yourself, sit back, take a step back, and say, okay, why does this happen? Why do I react like this when someone says this? Why do I do this every day? Why is this a habit? Where did this come from?
Mm-hmm.
If you literally pick yourself apart, I guarantee you within the next 3 months, if you literally make a concerted effort to do that, within the next 3 months, you're going to be so much happier because you're going to understand exactly who you are. And with that comes confidence, comes the ability to articulate your thoughts better. Everything comes with that, literally. It's such a valuable trait, and I literally can't stress it enough and that's even the point of the project too. That's why I put this in the project. I put it in the project as like the underlying theme that I hope everyone gets from it. I said I didn't want to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it because the project's already out. I might as well talk about it.
Yeah.
The whole point of this project, to me, the meaning behind it, is you cannot, because for people that are younger, that fall in love, for all these people that think that they have to give their all to someone, I completely 100% disagree that you have to give your all to someone. If you give your all to someone, then you're going to lose sight of yourself. Before you engage with someone and begin this intimate relationship, how are you going to love them if you don't know who you are and if you don't love yourself? If you give them your all, I guarantee you're going to lose track of who you are, and that's going to lead to resentment and a breakup or divorce, whatever it is. And that was the theme to me. That was the point of it, because it happened so much for me, and it took me so long to learn. And I wish someone would have pushed that to me so much younger. Right. And I'm sure people did, but you're just young and you don't listen.
Yeah, you're blind to a lot of the advice that other people give you. It's like, I remember, man, I never thought I would ever say this, but I remember going to, like, the people who are a senior in high school, or like they just graduated, they're like, enjoy it while you can because life sucks. And I get out of high school, and it takes me a couple months for it to really sit in. Yeah. And now that I look back, I was like, I'm starting to understand why they said, life doesn't suck. Life is literally what you make it. But I'm starting to understand why a lot of people get so consumed and think like it's different, right? Like you're on your own, or you're working and you're doing it's a different transition. It's a different thing. And going back to what you were talking about with relationships, is you have to know yourself to a certain extent, but I also feel like there's something powerful about figuring yourself out with another person. But not giving yourself your all, like 100%, but being like having a healthy balance and being able to figure life out together and figure out yourself with another person.
That's something that's very beautiful, but very rare. It rarely comes along because most people are so selfish and they're so caught up in their own life. And a lot of people, the excuse they'll make is, "Oh, I'm just not ready for this right now." But if you think about that, like,
you're never ready.
There's never going to be a time where it's comfortable for you to be like, okay, I'm going to give this person this part of my life. I'm going to give this person this part of my life. It literally comes from you just saying, this is the person that I want to do this with.
Right.
It's just about the person that fits you. And to me, it's something very rare that comes along. And like going back to the whole theme of the project, like that was such a huge point to me because, like I said, so much times growing up, that was something that wasn't exactly shown to me. And I wanted to put it in the form of music so that the younger people that do listen to my music, even people our age, because I think people our age still get into situations like this where I know a girl that I know right now that reached out to me a couple days ago. She's in a toxic relationship. And she told me, I want to leave, but I just don't know how to. And I'm like, it's literally the simplest thing ever. The reason that you're in this predicament, that you're in this problem, that you're in the situation that you're in right now is because you literally gave your all to this person. Now you don't know how to exist without them.
I was starting to go down that path myself.
You cannot.
And
it's so important that you don't do that. Because if you give your all to someone and you don't know how to exist without them, they have control over you, 100%. They have control over everything that you do. If they tell you, oh, go do this for me, and then you say no and say, okay, but I'll break up with you. Bet you're going to do it.
It's so toxic.
It's so evil. There's so much evil and malice.
And a lot of people don't even realize that they're doing that.
And
but it's their nature. And I guarantee that those people who cause the toxicity in relationships grew up with a toxic or broken relationship.
And it happens so often.
It's unfortunate. It's sad.
It's way too often. And that's literally the most painful thing for me. One of the most painful things for me to see. And I know that these kind of problems aren't the biggest problems in the world. But to me, these are the problems that I struggled with. I'm going to give you what I struggled with and try to help you through that because I get that now.
Yeah.
I get what you have to know. And if someone struggles with that and wants to DM me, they could go ahead and do that.
Right.
Like I said, I'm always here. I will always be that person. But going back to that, that's just something that was so so jaw-dropping to me that people go through these situations. So I was like, you know what? I want to make a project to help people to understand that is not the way. And that was the main theme and the point of this project. And I'm so happy that I'm able to put such a huge lesson and something that means so much to me into a project. Like, that literally means so much. People don't understand how much that means to me.
And you delivered on that.
And I appreciate that because that was the goal. The goal, I had the game plan. It was just about execution.
Right.
And I think, huge shout out to my engineer. Without my engineer, I would not be anywhere near where or who I am today.
Yeah.
He literally helps my music out so much. He helps guide me. He helped me come out of this, like, my first year of music and get so much better the second year of music.
That talks about surrounding yourself with like genuine people. I was curious. I was like, what direction are we taking this? Because there's so many different things that we can talk about.
Yeah.
But that speaks to surrounding yourself with people who want to see you win. If you're in a relationship with someone, you want to be in a relationship with someone who's supportive of you and not going to, not someone who's like, why are you doing that? Like, what the hell? Like, it's common sense, but common sense isn't so common.
Yeah.
But you speak about your engineer, and he's someone who supports you, who has your back. You support him, you have his back. Someone who is going to encourage you. If you do a shitty song, he's going to tell you, yo, Spitta, Andrew, this is trash. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to have a whole bunch of people.
And I appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
There's no reason that someone should ever call your music bad and you to feel bad about it. Because there's no point.
It's growing pains.
No, there's not even. It's not even about that either. Too, like, not every kind of music is gonna be for everyone. You should have your target audience and demographic.
Very true.
But also, the key, what me and a local artist talked about not long ago, the key is to make the demographic as large as possible. So you need to know your demographic, but I'm not just talking about a focus group. I'm talking about making the goal in improving yourself as an artist is to make that demographic get bigger until you're someone like Drake. Drake's so amazing at that. He literally made his demographic everyone because he does every kind of music basically.
Right.
That's absolutely insane.
Exactly. Yeah, and you're starting to do that yourself. I mean, for Bands Up, for example, the song that you dropped last year, great reception. It's more of a hype song. It's more of something that you might hear, you'd put on the car cruising at night or something like that, or to get yourself excited. Yeah. You're going to have a different demographic with that song versus a song like Net, versus a song like Twilight, or versus this entire project. This project opens you up to other age groups, like your parents, for example. They're like, whoa, like, wow.
I think this project's really, the demographic's so much bigger than the last one. I think the last one was so much more for a younger crowd. And this one, literally, I feel like anyone. Honestly, I feel like more of like around our age group is really gonna enjoy it, and that means a lot to me. But even older people, if older people know music, you're gonna like it.
You know what's something that irritates me though is like you mentioned Drake, for example, and I know like he started out rapping, but he also started out being a versatile artist. And I remember when Views dropped, even though everyone like it was one of the top performing albums, it was like crushing every record and stuff like that. A lot of people were bitching and complaining because they're like, he's not rapping, he's not doing all these other things. And I feel like people fail to understand that it's an art, that it's something that the artist and the musician and the rapper has to get behind. Like, you know,
that's what he was feeling at the moment in time.
Right.
How can you condemn that?
And how are you going to condemn for someone for putting out a piece of work? Like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I understand that you want certain artists to drop certain kinds of music because that's if fits your taste. Yeah. But you also need to understand, in order for them to get to their peak or whatever, regardless if Drake has hit his peak or not, he has more coming. So in order for him to get to that, he has to go through that. Mm-hmm. And that's flat out what it is. So just be patient. I completely understand now what I didn't understand when I was a fan before, because I was one of those people before that was like, oh my gosh, why doesn't he put out music every 6 months?
Yeah, like
and now I get it. I'm like, oh my gosh. If people told me to put out like a new project every 6 months, I guarantee the quality would start dropping.
Right.
I couldn't put so much thought into it. And you asked before, oh, why 6 songs? It's because there was so much more than 6 songs though. There was so much concept piece. There's probably about 80 concept pieces made for this project, and out of those, I got 6.
Right.
And one of them is an intro. Like, that's crazy.
And it's you know, you don't need to have 20 songs on an album for it to be good.
No.
You know, and you know, also with Drake, I want to throw this in here so we can look back and say if we're right or wrong. But we were having a conversation a couple weeks ago, and I personally think Drake's peak is next year. I think 2020 is going to be Drake's biggest year yet. The reason I say that
he's at the perfect time to do it.
He re-released his mixtape. He made that available. What is his mixtape called? I feel
So
bad.
Far Gone.
Yeah, So Far Gone. He made that available on all streaming services, and then he waits a couple months, and then he drops Care Package, which is like an older. It has all of his, all of his old songs, all of the stuff that really never made on projects. So right now he's warming the market back up, because when Scorpion dropped, and we're talking about this for a reason, guys. When Scorpion dropped, a lot of people didn't it's not what they expected. They were kind of expecting a harder like 2014 type Drake. And personally, he's warming the market up right now to drop something really amazing next year.
I think it's going to be
I personally feel
I'm really interested to see the route that he goes.
Definitely.
I mean, that's something that Drake does a really good job of keeping people on their toes of. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I try to follow. Yeah. Because to me, it's always the goal. I always want to keep you on your toes. I never want you to know what's about to come.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with looking at a person. If they have what you want, if they're in a position that you would be willing to trade places with, there's nothing wrong with mimicking what they do. To an extent. Yeah. To an extent. Not like 100% to a T, because obviously we're all different.
No, I just take inspiration from that route, because it's so smart. Mm-hmm. The way that he was marketed, the way that he grew his brand, the way that he grew his demographic, as I said.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's such a key piece that it's so funny that more people don't kind of key in on that. But I think it's also because a lot of people can't do that. It's a very, very hard thing to do, to be able to expand your range like that. It takes a lot of work and a lot of hours. But thankful for me, I love doing this, and I'm willing to put in those hours.
And a lot of people aren't willing to. And those are the people who drop off, or the people who, the times get tough, gets tough, man. Like, we were talking about this move. And there have been times in the past month where I'm like, what the heck did I get myself into? Yeah. But I know that it's the struggle that makes for a better story tomorrow. Those hours, the uncertainty, all of these things pay off. And guys, like, if you're in a position right now, you don't know what you're doing, you feel negative, you're consistently you're just confused, you have to realize that you're eventually going to figure it out. Your situation today is not going to be your situation tomorrow. And a lot of people quit before breaking and hitting that gold mine.
It's all leading to something. That's just what you always have to have in mind. It's all leading to something. There's a bigger purpose to this.
And was there a time when you were writing a short but true story to where you just wanted to quit? You're like, I don't know what direction I'm going?
There was multiple times. There was times I was really stuck, but then all of a sudden I just had this thought, and it was just like, I can't stop. I knew that just because after my last project, to me there was so much pressure on me. The reason it took so long too, I felt so much pressure after the last project, because for the first time ever, I knew for this next one, there was going to be eyes on me. That people were waiting, and that I had eyes on me, and I had people rooting for me. And to me, there's no way I could let those people down. and I say this so much. I cannot let people down.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the goal for me. If I let you down, that's something that's gonna rain so heavy on me.
What about letting yourself down?
I don't think I could let myself down just because I know that I give everything I can into this. I put everything I have into everything that I do. So there's no way that I can let myself down. It's about them. Like I tweeted a couple weeks ago even that this music, most of the reason I do this now, it isn't for me. And I know that's something so corny to say and a lot of people say, but it's not for me. It's literally for everyone else so that, and I'm not even talking about just, so they could digest the music and get lessons from it, but it's also so that I can grow and I could bring people up with me. So I can grow and I could put you on. I could put you on. I could put you on. I could buy my grandma a house. I could send these people on a trip.
Retweet one tweet and all of a sudden you made that person's career. Something like that.
It's absolutely crazy. And I want to get to the point where I can have a label and view artists, maybe even an artist from Bakersfield that comes up 10 years from now and say, he's where I was and he's going to be better than me. And bring him up and say, okay, I'm going to give you a record deal. And I'm going to guide you through this. I'm going to help you out and give you what I didn't have. And I'm going to help you out and give you what I didn't have. I'm going to give you all the tools. All you have to do is focus on being yourself.
That you mentioned something that's just so powerful. And guys, listening to this, I want you to rewind and re-listen to the past 4 minutes. Because you mentioned something that's so powerful about just you can't let yourself down because you know you give it your all. Because you know that you went all in. Because you know that what you're doing is with reason, with a purpose, and it's just so powerful for you to have that self-awareness, for you to have the, I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking about things and I'm like, you have such an understanding of who you are that nothing can get you off the wrong path or get you off your path.
Exactly.
And
that should always be the goal for everyone.
Dude, I'm not even in that position right now. I'm thinking to myself and I'm like, I got things to do. I gotta get myself right and have that, but it comes with time. It comes with time. It comes with experience. It comes with self-awareness.
Everyone learns at different rates.
Yeah, absolutely. And we
you're younger than me too.
Yeah, you got me beat by a couple years.
Yeah.
Mind blown, literally, and that's powerful. Now I want to mention something else. Your song played on the radio.
Yeah.
The other day at a local radio station. Talk about this, man.
You want to know the crazy thing? The fact that I've been doing music for 2 years. In those 2 years, I had 0 songs played. In the last 2 weeks, I had 3.
And that's just the beginning.
But think about that. For 2 years, I literally started reaching out to the radio maybe 3-4 months into me starting to make music. Never got a response. And now, all of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, everyone starts following me. I don't even ask. It was nothing like that. Literally, people just start following me from the radio, and I'm like, what? And I just get a DM. I'm coming back from Sequoia shooting a video, and I get a DM saying, your song bands up. We'll play on the radio tonight. And I'm like,
you didn't ask them to do that?
I hadn't reached out to them.
I thought you did.
I hadn't reached out to them in months.
Holy crap, man.
I had not reached out to them in months. And then I got a DM, and then he said, Vans are playing tonight. And then I asked, and I said, I want to come up to I'd been asking for a little while, hey, can I come up and promote this project that I'm coming out with?
Mm-hmm.
And finally, they liked that song, so it snowballed, and it turned into me going up there, and it was honestly such an amazing experience. But the even more amazing thing that came from that was, okay, so I gave my phone to my cousin while I was doing this interview and while I was doing these performances, and the whole time he's sitting off to the side, he's like this, pointing to the phone, and he's like, it's blowing up, mouthing that to me, and my phone's just going crazy. One of my friends hasn't texted me directly in 2 years, reached out to me and said, this is something so special. I feel the energy that is coming from this music that you're doing right now. I feel the energy that you are putting out right now. And I know that you are going to be a household name soon. And he literally said that to me. He had no reason to say that to me. I hadn't spoken to him directly, and he's never said anything like that to me in my entire life. And he went out of his way to text me that.
And that was genuine.
And
that wasn't. Oh my God, you're on the radio.
Yeah,
I'm going to clout chase. No,
it wasn't anything like that.
Yeah,
I could tell, and I could tell that was absolutely genuine, and it's something he felt that he had to say. And that's something insane.
That's a stepping stone. That's such a huge. People want to hit this huge level of success. They want to make millions of dollars. They want to go viral. They want to do all these things. And when it doesn't happen as quickly as they want it to, they get discouraged and they give up. And for you to go 2 years without anything happening, to all of a sudden, bam, step after step after step after step. It's like you're climbing the ladder, and all of a sudden you just like jumped up like 5 rungs on the ladder.
Yeah.
You know, there are different levels to this, and I can't even imagine how you must have felt. You know, just to be in that position, and even though it's a local radio station,
No,
dude,
it doesn't
huge.
even matter. No,
That's not what it is. That's not what it's about.
Like, I know a lot of people don't take that kind of thing like, oh, this is amazing. To me, you don't understand how long I've been wanting. That was literally one of my top 3 goals, making music. I wanted a song to play on the radio. I've had 3 play now.
And you've done that within 2 years.
That's
Bam, man.
I literally cannot express how absolutely blessed I am. It's literally, I honestly don't even feel I deserve it, but it comes, and I'm so thankful for it, honestly, to everyone.
And you should be,
Yeah.
you know, and that gratitude is what also, you know, being grateful and being grateful for the people in your life, for your project, for yourself, you know, and, you know, pretty soon, man, I'm telling you, you know, this project is going to take you places. I'm certain of that. You're going to be on one of the radio stations down in LA. Like, you're going to have people hitting you up. Like, it's just a matter of time. And, you know, it's about having that clear sense of direction of where you're going. And as soon as you know where you're going or what direction you're heading in, you might not have everything figured out. Yeah. But the analogy that I use is like, you're taking a road trip and you start from Florida. Like, I'm from Jacksonville, so I'll use that example. Like, you start on a road trip from Jacksonville, and your goal is New York City. You know you're going to New York City, but somewhere on that line, you're going to be driving down the road, and you're going to go through a thunderstorm or fog, and you won't be able to see in front of you. Yeah. You still know where you're going. You don't stop because you can't see in front of you. You drive through it. You keep going. You keep pressing forward. And in life, that's what you have to do. You know, you whenever you drop feelings mutual, I know that you told me that you really didn't know what you were doing next. You know, you were just like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, how I'm going to top this.
After I dropped that project, almost nobody knows. That was literally one of the lowest points in my life. I literally hit near rock bottom. That I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what was next. I was at a job I wasn't happy about. And once again, as it usually happens, I projected that into someone else. And which is literally the worst possible thing you could do. And that's literally and this project came from that.
And that this is leading now to where you're at too. One thing, even the lowest point happens for a reason.
Yeah, and I had no idea, honestly, like, I know that when you're at that low point, it's so hard to think that there's light at the other side of the tunnel, and it's such a cliche that everyone says, but you just have to believe, man.
Man, you know, I used to try to steer away from cliches and even mentioning them.
But so much of them are true.
So many cliches are true, but most people don't stop to digest what the cliches genuinely mean.
Yeah, I completely agree.
You know?
It's absolutely insane if you really think about it.
Success is a journey, not a destination. You know, that one cliche, but I've really come to realize it's not about making $1 million. It's not about making 100 million. It's not about doing this.
It's about making that first 10.
Well, it's also about becoming the person worthy of it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, how do you expect to make that money if you're not worthy of it? How do you expect to have that influence and that power?
You have to have value in yourself.
If you can't influence yourself. You know, and that's why a lot of people go off the deep end. Justin Bieber just dropped a post on Instagram the other day, and he talks about how he had a drug abuse problem. He was abusive in relationships and all these different things because he came across this influence, across this money, across this fame at such a young age. He had no idea what he was doing with it.
It's something very tough, yeah. I can't even imagine what it would be like going through something like that. That's why I said I'm honestly grateful that nothing has blown up yet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't have been ready.
I was just about to ask you that. I was going to be like, what if Feelings Mutual blew up and you
I wouldn't have been ready. Because mostly at that point in time, I was at such a low point. I would have had to have faked so much things, and I know that would have just led to even more discomfort on my end, to even more sadness on my end. It would not have been good.
Do you think you're ready now?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm ready for whatever comes because I know who I am.
You're open.
I know my path. I know exactly who I am, and I won't stray from that. I didn't know who I was yet. I know who I am now. I'm ready for that.
I just got chills. I literally just got chills because this is so valuable. So many people listening to this are going to be like, wow. Because I know that there are a lot of artists out there, people who want to make music, young kids, 14, 13-year-old kids, or just a person who's in their 30s and they're passionate about something. They're passionate about making music.
Everything's obtainable.
And that's part of the reason why I want to get people from all walks of life and from people who, are artists, are a freaking engineer. Like literally, if you're a chemical engineer, like sure, I'll have you on the podcast. You got to hustle. But because there are different people have different experiences.
Yeah.
And a lot of people lack that direction and they're just scared. They're just scared. They're like, I don't have everything figured out, and they never start. And there are just so many opportunities out there. You know, we're talking about the internet, we're talking about social media, we're talking about the things that have happened and the things that will continue to happen, and where this is going. Social media is not going to disappear. Unless the sun has a solar flare that wipes out all technology, social media is going to be around for years. You know, social media is going to be around for hundreds of years.
Yeah, that's definitely not going on.
All right, guys. So far in this interview, we've talked about so many great things. We've talked about his come up. We've talked about his childhood, his different influences, all these different things. But there's still so much yet to be talked about. But I'm curious, Andrew. Like, who are some of your biggest musical influences? Because every single artist, you know, has a musician that they take to. But who is it for you?
I have a long list. You want all of them?
Go for
it. Kanye, Jaden Smith, Drake, Kid Cudi, The Weeknd. A little bit of Lil Wayne. There's
Young
a
Thug.
lot. No, Young Thug isn't an influence. The Temptations. A lot.
Temptation. I've never heard of them before.
Really?
No,
oh
I've never heard of it.
Gosh, you know Pablo was a Rolling Stone.
Oh, okay. I think vaguely.
Really old school.
Vaguely.
Bob Marley.
Really? So it's not just rappers. It's people from all genres.
Yeah,
right?
it's everything.
And you listen to some like metal, or not metal, but like rock too, right?
Yeah, I listen to rock. I love
crazy.
Rock. Yeah, I want to make a rock project one day.
Okay, Lil Wayne.
Pure rock.
Yeah, Lil Wayne did that with one of his projects.
Yeah,
in like
a lot of
2009.
people did. Jay-Z collaborated with Linkin Park.
Oh yeah, off of Numb, right? Yeah, that was an amazing song, and it shows like you don't have to be confined to one genre. Like you shouldn't be.
No, I want to do a lot of different ones. I want to do a whole jazz album at some point too.
Ooh, I can imagine that. Imagine you like freaking tuxedo and a hat with your hair slicked
back
in front of a microphone.
Yeah, it'll probably be a whole theme. I think that'll be really cool.
You know, Logic is doing something with his Sinatra projects. You know, kind of that jazz.
Yeah.
I think is really interesting. So how have those like people influenced you to become the artist you are today?
I think mainly they just kind of showed me not to be confined, not to be pushed into a box, and to have a singular sound.
Okay.
It's to really always innovate. Mostly Kanye. I think Kanye's honestly my biggest influence. It's because just the way that Kanye developed is such a huge thing. I mean, he came into the game at such a high point with his first project, like literally one of the greatest projects of all time to me. I think that's literally one of the greatest projects of all time. And then he has, I think, I genuinely think he has top 4 of the top 20 best hip hop albums ever.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a bold statement. I don't know. Some people are going to drop off the interview after this point. No.
I think he has no. I honestly don't even think it's debatable. I think if you think that 4 of
interesting
aren't, I think you're crazy.
Because I know a lot of people think that his like what he's done with music is just so. I don't know. I've heard from a lot of people.
People discredit him because of the fact that he has writers and he doesn't do it all on his own. But there's so much. People don't understand. There's so much work that goes into that, to picking out the people, to bringing everyone together. There's even beauty in that. Like, and mind you, I write everything by myself.
Right.
I don't have that. But even me, I know that
you can
that still has to be that still has to be so hard for him to even concept pieces like that. That's so difficult.
Now, what do you think? There's this one song that he dropped sometime in the past 18 months, and it was that one song that's like poopity scoopity doopity doop. Like,
I think that's a marketing ploy.
You think that's marketing?
Yeah, I just think that's a marketing ploy. I don't think it's anything but that.
I agree, and it's
that made me lose a little bit of respect for him, because I don't think you should ever let marketing take you over to that point. But I mean, he's still one of the greatest artists of all time and one of my biggest influences, and one of my favorite artists of all time. So there's some people who like a lot of beef is made on purpose. Like, if you think about the Machine Gun Kelly, like, Eminem beef, like, that instantly boosted Machine Gun Kelly. You know, you think about, there's this rapper, Quadeka. It was on purpose.
He had a beef with KSI.
Yeah,
and he went from having 300,000 followers or subscribers to 600,000, and I checked back, like, a month ago, he has, like, 1.2 million.
Yeah, I don't really like him.
I don't
really like Quadeka.
Really?
I don't really like him. I think he's really corny.
I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of respect for him. But
I get his point, but like I said, I could kind of feel people aren't genuine. I don't think he's genuine with his music.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't think that's him. But that's just my opinion, though.
I don't know. I mean, I look for, like, I can't really judge a person unless I met them in person, you know, and get a feel for him.
But I just, like we said earlier, energy.
I'm surprised you even know who he is.
Yeah.
He's not, like, that mainstream.
I know who he is. I know a lot of underground people. So, I keep note of everyone.
Okay, yeah, and guys, like, for being a huge entrepreneur and, like, whatnot, and for not being a rapper or musician or anything like that, like I'm very big into music because I feel like music has a deeper connection and a deeper like the lyrics behind it, the message, the story with this project, the overall meaning that goes into one simple project. Now, you know, I have a lot of respect, and like I remember when I was younger, my parents used to speak down on rap music, and me, I was the type of person where if you told me to go left, I would purposely go right, and if you told me to go right, I would purposely go left.
That's most kids.
And but I'm still the same exact way. Unless I respect you, I'll go and do the opposite half the time. It's something I've got to work through. But anyways, like they used to tell me rap is crap, and so little you know middle school me, I'd automatically go and listen to more rap because I'm like, oh, I'm doing what my parents don't want me to do.
Yeah.
And so I would automatically do it. But from there, it's kind of grown to where I have such a high level of respect for the hip hop community because of the stories and the come up. Because
there's a lot that goes into music that nobody understands, and unless you're in the music industry.
Even stepping in and like getting a behind the scenes feel and like having this conversation, you're giving an insight that a lot of rappers and a lot of people don't give of like what goes into it, the low points and just the struggles and just the, you know, there are other things that we won't even talk about, just the amount of time and the effort that went into developing this project.
Yeah, I could go for hours and hours just about this project alone, not even talking about my whole career and every single project, because this is, mind you, this is my fourth. But people only talk about the last one and this one.
One for many more. You know, this is just again a milestone, and this is going to be a huge milestone. So, what is one like word of advice that you would give just the listening audience?
Listening audience, stay genuine, be true to yourself always. I think that's the biggest thing I could possibly say.
Why do you say that? That's like the biggest thing?
Because if you just like we've been saying this entire time, you need to know who you are. If you stay true to yourself, I guarantee whatever you want will come to you. As long as you stay on your path, you know what's destined for you. Nobody can take that away from you. It's always stay true to yourself.
Now I know that there's going to be one person of like Isaac, Andrew. You know, I don't know my path. I don't know where I'm going. And we touched on this a little bit earlier, but you have to understand and embrace that you might not know exactly where you're going. But a lot of people too, you have to realize that this analogy that I wasn't planning on using, but guys, whenever you went shoe shopping when you were younger, like going back to school, and you would get a pair of shoes, you know, at the start of the school year, you'd always get a new fresh pair of kicks. You always got a pair that was one size too big. Your mom would be like, no, we're getting a size 10. And you're like, Mom, I'm only a size 8.5. And she's like, no, we're getting a size 10. Why? Because you were going to fill in that shoe later on that year, or eventually you're going to fill that in. And you have to realize it's the same exact thing with life. You might not be able to fill in that shoe right now, but you have to recognize that you're eventually going to be able to. You will figure out the things that you need to figure out. You will get the experience that you need to have. You will do the things in life that you need to do in order to become the person who you are destined to become. But if you give up and you conform and you become like every other person in society, you will never get to that point. And that's why it takes a huge level of self-awareness. It takes a huge level of self-respect, knowing who you are, and just having like an understanding that you're the only person who is in control of your destiny and your future. You know, it's super easy to take advice from other people and to, you know, let a person's opinion affect you. But if you do that, you're letting them control your life. And it's like, I know there's a video that Russ did on Twitter a couple months back, and he's like, you know what really pisses me off? He's like, everyone is trying to tell me how to live my life when they don't know how to live their own life. Like, genuinely, think about it. You know, all these people are giving advice on how to be a rapper when they're not even a rapper or an artist. There's people giving entrepreneur advice or career advice. It's like, I'm not going to take advice on how to build a multi-million-dollar business from a homeless person. No disrespect, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to listen on marital advice from someone who's been divorced 5 times. You know what I'm saying?
That's a lot of wisdom that comes with that, though.
There is, but I'm not going to ask how to have a healthy marriage. Like, I might learn what not to do and what not to screw up on. But it's like, guys, you have to, and this is what you've done too. You've seen these different artists. You've seen what they've done. They have the success you want. You can learn from these different things. Other people have life experiences that you don't have.
Of course.
You know, why are you going to go through 20 years of your life making the same mistakes that other people have already made? You can learn from it.
I'm always learning from everyone too. Everyone around me. Everyone around me teaches me a lesson that I didn't know before. Yeah. There's knowledge in everyone.
I agree.
Literally.
I agree. You know, and I know just, for example, like coaching consulting. Like, I really didn't see myself getting into coaching consulting, but something I had to recognize is that the knowledge I'm giving, the knowledge and the value that I'm bringing is experience, is a couple years of work, and not only just me working, but self-development and learning from other people and studying and stuff like that. So I'm saving other people a hell of a lot of time for small monetary investment.
Yeah, it gives me a lot of joy doing that kind of thing, because I do the same thing. If a new artist comes to me and says, "Oh, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? How'd you develop?" It gives me a lot of joy being able to hand down to them what wasn't given to me. Because I literally started this completely on my own. I had no one. I had no engineer guiding me. I started this on my own. My engineer started guiding me, but like in terms of my first songs,
You did it yourself.
it was literally me. It was just me playing around.
Do you remember your initial feeling whenever you did it and like published your first song?
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I was really excited. It was really bad though, and I think I got like maybe 90 plays the first day. Yeah, I think I got about 90 plays the first day, and I got like 150 the first week.
There we go.
But I was really excited to get that first. When I got that first 100, I was like, damn.
Oh man.
I was like, oh, I'm popping.
I remember when I
was
got
ready
like
for it.
1,000 total plays on my original podcast. I was like, oh man. And the reason I asked that question is like the other day I was thinking about it, and I was like, I would love to be able to go back in time to where I just got introduced to entrepreneurship, and I just got introduced to everything, and just experience that again. And this is 2 years in.
I honestly think I love it more now than before though. I think I love it more now than ever before. It's because I'm able to see what's possible with it. I think that's really why I love it more now than ever before.
Why do you see what's possible? What opened up your eyes?
Just the fact of literally seeing what I could do. I didn't know what I could do. It's just the fact of me continuing to explore.
Do you know what you can do now, though?
I'm
don't. Asking you a whole bunch of deep-ass questions.
I don't even know the limit yet. And that's the thing that's so crazy to me. Like, I don't. Because I keep on shocking myself. I don't even know how I put these projects together. You ask me, oh, how is it possible? I have no idea. Things come to my mind. It's literally just a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I could describe it. It's just energy being given.
And you have that trust. You have that trust that you're going to figure this out.
It has to work.
Right.
I know all this wasn't just a waste of time.
How do you stay humble? Because the more you speak, and I've known you now, we've hung out for many hours now, but just the more I get to know you, even on like this level of having these conversations and stuff, like you just have this very humble spirit that most people don't have.
Yeah.
How?
It's just because
what causes your humility?
I think it's just because I know where I come from.
Know where you come from?
Yeah, I know where I come from. I know what the base was. I know how it feels to be at the bottom, and I don't want anyone to feel lowered. Like, I'm not better than anyone. Now, I'll always say that I'm not better than anyone. We're all on level playing field. I don't care who you are. The fact that if someone has more numbers than me, that's cool. But at the end of the day, it comes down to talent. If I have more numbers than you, that's cool. But at the end of the day, are you better than me?
Time to start up a beef.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it literally matters, who puts in more work. And that's all I care about. It's just putting in work and making everyone happy.
Every single celebrity, every single famous person, every single person of wealth started somewhere. And a lot of these people had to put in plenty of hours behind the scenes that people never saw.
Yeah.
And it's like no one blows up overnight, because they had to put in work, some way, shape, or form.
The funny thing is, the closest thing that ever come to that is Lil Nas X. You know that?
Yeah.
It was the 6th song that he made.
Yeah.
The 6th song he ever made holds the record for the longest time on a #1 Billboard Top 100 chart.
That just shows you how much can change in such a short period of time. So don't get discouraged if like, oh my God, I posted a video this day on my Instagram of like, success doesn't happen overnight.
But you know the funny thing? He's so smart.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how smart he had to be to manipulate the industry and to recognize everything that was going on and say, okay, how could I get a hit from this?
And why do you think his EP now has a rock song? It has a whole bunch of different genres.
He's so smart. EP. Like, but even something like that. Do you know how long it must have taken him to get to that mind state? It wasn't even about the music. It was literally about his marketing skills and his mind.
Well, his Twitter account. His Twitter is one of the most viral accounts ever.
It's because he started off just dropping memes. He knows how to manipulate the media, and it's so smart.
Yeah, and anyone can learn that. Anyone can do that. He's my age. He's like, I think he's still 18.
He's younger than me.
Yeah, he's younger than me, and I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, he makes me look old.
And I feel like I'm looking at these other people, and I was like, there are 18-year-olds running businesses right now that are worth millions of dollars. But I also have to remind myself is we're all on our own different path.
Yeah,
we're on a different path. So what path is for think about Jacob Sartorius. He's like 16. He's super hella famous.
Yeah.
The Cash Me Outside girl, Danielle Bergoli, like she's super young.
17.
And it's like just because a person is at another level that you're not at, you have to realize like
it doesn't
big
matter.
deal. That doesn't matter. Yeah, focus on your own
What's
stuff.
destined for you is yours.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what anybody else gets. What's destined for you will be yours. It's a matter of the work you put in.
Right. And if
are you going to give up? Are you going to, like it says in the project, will you cower and crumble, or will you move forward?
Mm. Another thing too that I've noticed with your music is you don't cuss as much as most artists.
No, I don't. I hate cussing on music.
Why?
I never cuss on my music just because I know that growing up, my parents never wanted me to listen to music with cuss words, and I recognized that, and I would always get the clean versions of songs growing up. So to me, like if I can help a kid out by not putting a cuss word in my song, and so he could play it around his parents, it's so cool for me.
Mm.
So that he could put it on the aux cord, and he doesn't have to be worried about, I need to blur it out when the cuss word comes up.
Oh, sorry, Mom. Oh, joke, crap. Yeah,
like I want to be that person that kids could play, because I recognize a lot of kids listen to my music, and a lot of younger, and I don't want to have a bad influence on them. There's no reason for that.
That comes with such a high level of self-awareness, man, and it also shows your talent. A lot of rappers will throw in a cuss word when they can't think of another word.
It's really easy to what's it called, to go off of cuss words.
And we don't even recognize that we're listening to it half the time. I've started to think about that myself of like, what am I really listening to? What am I really being influenced by? But even when it comes to the podcast you're listening to, the music you're listening to, the books you're reading, the people you're around, all these different things are influencing us on a constant day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And, how many times do you think we're hit with marketing? Like you're wearing a specific shirt right now by a specific company.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the shirt of a local company here in Bakersfield. And that's just one example of branding. I was hearing somewhere, and it's like I think we're hit like between 2,000 to 5,000 different logos every single day, which is things that we see online. You think about, you go see let's say a dish detergent commercial on the TV.
All my followers see my logo.
And then you see not only dish, but you also see that the refrigerator is an LG, and then the bag or the thing in the fridge is of a certain brand.
I never even think about that. That's actually crazy.
Marketing within marketing.
Yeah, I never even think about that.
There's marketing within marketing within marketing within marketing. It's unbelievable, man. It's brilliant if you know how to leverage it. Going back to like Little Nas, and the only way that you can do that is study, and some things just happen. Sometimes you just have that like that thing that goes off in your mind of like, that's powerful. There's so much truth in that.
Yeah. No, it takes a lot of thought to go behind something like that. But yeah, like I said, like we were talking about overnight success. Like I said, that's probably the closest thing. But then again, you have to think about how much time he must have taken out to grow his Twitter account to the point that it was that song could blow up, and so his mind could develop to know, okay, this is how I could promote the song. Mm-hmm. It's really smart, and yeah, nothing is an overnight success. I completely agree.
Even winning the lottery, you have to do some work to win the lottery. You have to go buy it. You have to get off your ass.
You get some money in order to buy the ticket.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like it's funny. It's crazy to think, but wow, I've really enjoyed this interview. Man, what else can we talk about? What other value can we give? What are you feeling right now?
I don't know, man. I think we touched on a lot of things. I mean, I'm just extremely happy and blessed to be here, honestly. And I hope that everyone listening can always have gratitude for waking up every single day and being able to have another breath, see the people that they love. You have someone near you. Take advantage of it every single second. Gratitude for the small things in life. Yep. Wake up in the morning blessed. That's always something that I'll preach. That every now and then I feel like you just have to take in a moment. I think that's always a very important thing. And it's something that I have struggled with, and I try to get better with every single day. It's just when you're in the moment, just take it all in. Look around you, know what's happening, and just be present. Do you meditate at all? I did. I honestly want to get back to it because I don't think it's something that should go away once you're in the right state of mind. I think it's something that should continue to happen, but I did meditate a lot when I was younger, around when I was 19, when I started. Okay. Yeah. It's something that I've started to get involved with myself. I love recently. Yeah, meditation is absolutely amazing. I really recommend it for anyone. And even if you're in an amazing place in life, meditation is really cool. There's always more things to learn. Yeah. Why do you think Buddha disappeared and like he had everything that he could have ever wanted? Yeah. Like he was a prince, if I'm not mistaken.
and he just dropped off the grid and meditated for 40 freaking years.
Yeah, it's just a great way, if you can't get away, to still get away in your everyday life.
And like, personally, man, like, you can meditate in the shower. You can literally meditate, go outside, go to a quiet space, and just think and just reflect. And
I still do about once a week, but just not as often as I used to. I used to every single day.
I challenge you guys to meditate and make it a habit to meditate at least twice per week. If you do that challenge, let me know. Send me a message, and I'll go ahead and give you a shout out on all my social media. I'm curious to know how many of you are going to take action. So, man,
that's a great challenge to put out there.
Yeah, I'm starting to do a little bit more of those. I really want to see how serious people are about making changes. Yeah, and I'll do the same exact thing.
That's big.
I'll do the same exact thing.
Yeah, meditation has a lot of upside to it. And it's not even like, it doesn't even have to be considered a spiritual thing. If you're scared of it because of that point, it doesn't have to be spiritual. It's just time. It's time with yourself.
It's purely selfless.
It's completely, it's just a time for quiet and just to understand and take in everything that's happening.
Now, out of curiosity, a lot of rappers, or not rappers, sorry for even mentioning that next to your name, Spitta. I'm sorry, brother. But musicians or artists.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they don't talk about self-development and personal development. Do you do any of that? Do you listen to any podcasts? What do you do?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Speak on this. I'm curious. I've never heard an artist speak on this.
No, I listen to a lot of. My dad is big on financial podcasts, so I listen to a lot of those with him.
Like Dave Ramsey?
Yeah, exactly. Dave Ramsey. That's actually the exact one we listen to. I was blanking on his name. Yeah, we listen to that a lot in the car. I listen to a couple podcasts. I like listening to local podcasts too. I listen to your podcast. I love your podcast, bro.
Appreciate that.
Inside the Vibe, based out of Bakersfield.
Multimedia Bob, right?
Yeah, I listen to some sports podcasts too. I listen, and then just some random personal ones whenever I come across it. I just kind of just scroll. It's not really go-to ones I have. I just kind of let's see what these people have to offer.
See what's good.
Yeah, see what people have to offer because everyone's different. You can connect with it differently.
And even like self-development isn't even like correlated to business or mindset or anything like that. Like listening to a sports podcast is so you're growing, you're learning new things.
Yeah,
it's like playing Jeopardy. Like Jeopardy, you're learning random statistics and random facts that who knows you could potentially use in the future. And if not, it's still growing your brain.
No, there's always there's always the upside to learning something new. Mm-hmm. It's never a bad thing.
Absolutely, consistently evolving, consistently growing, and you're going to continue growing as an artist. And Andrew, I'm excited to see what path is about to unfold in front of you, man.
I'm excited too. Can't wait.
So this is the part of the podcast. This is entirely for you. Shameless plug. Promote whatever you want to promote.
All right.
And go get it.
All right. I have a lot of shout outs. I want to give a shout out to my engineer, Carlos, or T3B Music. Without him, this project would not have been anywhere near what it was. Without him, I would not have developed into this artist. I want to give a shout out to my cousin Matthew. Shout out to Harold. Shout out to Isaac. Shout out to Gabe. Shout out to my whole squad. Shout out to Victor. I know I'll be forgetting people. I'm sorry. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to my dad's company, Epic Construction. Shout out to my dad, my mom, everyone that helped me out to get to where I am today. Without all of you guys, I would not be anywhere near the person that I am or the artist that I am or this person that people could actually sit down and listen to. That's absolutely crazy to me that people sit down and listen to me every single day. I'm absolutely blessed for every single one of you that support me. I can't thank you guys enough. If you guys want to follow me, it's at Yung Spitta 661, YUNGSPITTA 661 on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to search up my music, it's just Yung Spitta, YUNGSPITTA. And go listen to A Short But True Story. It will be available now by the time you hear this. And DM me and let me know what you guys think.
And you also have a website too, don't you?
And I have a website. www.youngspitta661.com. Go copy your merch.
Yeah. There we go, my man. I appreciated having you on.
I appreciate you.
And with that, we'll go to wrap up the podcast. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode with my boy Yung Spitta, Andrew out of Bakersfield. Short But True Story, streaming everywhere. Make sure to show some love, show some support, and make sure to tag him in your post. Tag me, and I'll be showing some love right back. So with that, guys, thank you for listening to episode 12. And until next time, remember success before rest. And I'll also shameless plug myself. Make sure to check me out and check out my website, isaacmashman.com. So...
Can you tell me where's your mind at? Hope that I can help you find that. These days I'm worrying way too much. Got me thinking if it's time for me to fall back. Can you tell me where's your mind at? Hope that I can help you find that. These days I'm worrying way too much. Got me thinking if it's time for me to fall back. Do you call me? I don't know. It's been a long time going down this road. Just a bottle in my hand and a phone. Hoping soon that I'm gonna